how can I put this lightly? I told you so! 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 Okay, so if you recall, the very first video I posted on this channel was a review of the Batman vs Superman trailer. Needless to say, I bashed the shit out of it. I didn't have a lot of good things to say, and I got a lot of beef about it from you guys. Most of you wanted to punch me in the face, and that was fair. I kind of came in like a hurricane, I jumped the gun a little bit, but I just did not think it was gonna be a good movie at all. It was also just a terrible video on my part. I mean, what is my hair? What is my face? What am I doing? But hey, cut me some slack, okay? It was my first video. I didn't know what the crap I was doing. So anyways, last night I went to see Batman vs Superman, and I really did try my best to be as hopeful as possible. I love DC, represent Team DC for life. But man, when I walked out of that theater, I would be lying if I didn't say I was a little bit excited that I was right. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it was pretty bad. It had some shining moments, and there were some scenes where I was like, that was pretty cool. But for the most part, the movie did not do very much for me. That being said, I have a ton of stuff to say about this film. And I don't want to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but I also have so many things that I want to talk about that are specifically spoilers. That being said, this video will be split into two parts. The first half of this video will be spoiler-free, chock-free of spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, don't you worry, I got you covered. But the second half of this video is gonna be so many spoilers. Spoilers out the butt. Because I really just want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it all and just bash the hell out of this movie. But don't worry, I will warn you very specifically when I'm about to get to the spoilers part. So let's get to it. The movie started out with a pretty promising opening scene, although I am getting kind of sick of constant Batman movies slamming into our brains that Bruce Wayne's parents died. Like, oh, really? Bruce's parents die? What? Why didn't anyone tell me this? I did not come prepared for all of this emotional trauma. Batman's parents are dead? We know! Everyone knows! But I will give it to Zack Snyder for making the opening scene pretty heartfelt, and I really did feel something while I was watching it, even though I knew that happened already. It was really just beautifully shot, just beautiful visuals, and that's pretty much what Zack Snyder does best. Unfortunately, it's the only thing he does well. And I mean, after a while, I do get kind of sick of seeing slow motion scenes and lens flares everywhere, but I gotta hand it to him, his visuals are on point. Unfortunately, a movie can't depend on the visual aesthetics alone, so the rest of the film tends to fall flat. Aside from the beautiful cinematography, I really didn't feel anything watching this movie. Like, there was just no character development, mostly due to the fact that there are so many characters. I mean, seriously, when I saw the trailer, I thought there were too many characters, but when you watch the movie, there's even more characters. Here's a character, here's a character. You want more characters? Here's another 10 characters. Slow down, DC. You're gonna kill yourself. We got Superman, Batman, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, Wonder Woman, Doomsday, Alfred, the Senator, all kinds of random people. And the movie basically tries to tell all of their individual stories at once, and it is just a clusterfuck of chaos. So many stories trying to be told that there is no real focus on one thing. Even the fight between Batman and Superman, you know, the name of the movie is just, it's just one little part of so many things. It's not really a huge focus. Like, yeah, it's relevant for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, but then it's completely overshadowed by the 5 billion other things that are also going on. I mean, there were certain parts of the movie where I was like, damn, I should really be feeling something emotionally about this scene right here, but I just don't give a shit. And that's the problem with this movie. I just didn't really care about any of the characters because there was no build-up and development to make me feel an attachment to anyone. I mean, this is the first time, aside from Clark Kent and Lois Lane in Man of Steel, that we're being introduced to any of these characters. And speaking of Lois Lane, she is completely useless. She literally serves no purpose to this movie other than to drool over Clark Kent and give him puppy dog eyes whenever he's around. I mean, she has balls in the comics, but in the movie, she's just pointless damsel in distress crybaby. Wah, Superman, I love you. Save me, I'm dying. Do we really need that with all the other crap going on? Grow the fuck up, Lewis. I'm tired of your shit. Speaking of useless characters, I was really kind of disappointed in the way that they introduced Wonder Woman. But she does absolutely nothing for 90% of this film. Granted, when she does show up, she really kicks some ass and it is the greatest part of the entire movie. Hands down my favorite part of the film. But up until that point, she does nothing. But I'm gonna let it slide because her fight scenes were just so good. Seriously, Gal Gadot was so much more awesome than I thought she would be. And speaking of actors who nailed it, I've gotta give it to Ben Affleck. He did a pretty good job portraying Bruce Wayne. He was really good at portraying that old, weathered broken down man who had just spent decades and decades protecting Gotham, and he's just tired of dealing with everybody's shit. I was digging it. I was also really digging Jeremy Irons' portrayal of Alfred. He might have actually been my favorite character because he was the same old Alfred that we all know and love. Perfectly balanced with truly caring for Bruce and truly caring for Gotham while also being a sarcastic asshole. There were a couple parts where he made me chuckle and I appreciated that. That being said, Lex Luthor is someone that we need to talk about. I was really unsure about the casting of Jesse Eisenberg at first, but I did kind of get excited about it because it was new and interesting, and I thought, maybe he's got it in him. And for the first half of the movie, I really did think he was great. He was that perfect mix of intelligence with a little bit of crazy, and he was kind of awkward, but not quite. But it wasn't too obnoxious until he got crazy. Basically, the further the movie went on, the more I grew to hate him. Because he became more and more cartoony and just not believable at all. Yes, I understand that these are based on cartoons and comic books, but when everyone else in the movie is realistic, it doesn't make sense to have one that isn't realistic. It just doesn't, they don't mush, nope, it doesn't work. The animated Lex Luthor was more believable than Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I mean, between every other word he was going, I'm Lex Luthor, I'm crazy, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, Stop it! You're Lex Luthor, not fucking Mickey Mouse! Stop it! I also need to point out that this movie is entirely too rushed. It's almost as if DC was like, wow, look at Marvel, look at how successful they are, let's do that, but really fast. And instead of, you know, doing what Marvel did, which they've been doing for, I don't know, like 10 years, DC decided to say, hey, we could do that, but we don't need that much time. We're way better than Marvel. We don't need to develop characters or storylines or worlds or literally anything. We just need to have cool action sequences and cram in as much shit as possible, just so we can get to a Justice League movie already. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Also, the fact that I've come this far and said nothing about the actual fight between Batman and Superman just speaks mounds. This movie is about 2 hours of build-up to about 15 minutes of fighting. And that's not even the worst part. When I got out of this movie, the first thing that my friends asked me was, who won, Batman or Superman? And this is my response. That is so funny, that is hilarious. Have you considered stand-up? It's the name of the film! People, make it at least kind of relevant. I kind of feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with DC. Like, I'm in denial about it. I don't really want to accept that there's a problem. You know, I'm just like, it's fine. I'm okay. Nothing's wrong here, guys. I'm fine. I think this is the part where I need to transition into my spoilery review, because it's kind of hard to give this movie a full-on review without giving away all the nitty-gritty details, because I just have so many things to say. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, click out of this video and come back whenever you've watched the movie. But to my spoiler-free folks, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and then get out right now. Are you gone? Can I talk about spoilers now? I gave you a pretty fair warning. If you're still here, it's not my fault. It's all your fault. Okay, are we ready? Is everyone gone? Are we good? Okay. Superman dies? What? Already? It's the second DC movie and he's already fucking dead? The Avengers have been assembling for 10 fucking years and it took them until the last movie to kill off Quicksilver? And you're gonna kill freaking Superman? Who do you think you are? Breaking my heart, DC, come on. Oh, and the worst part is that Batman didn't even fucking kill Superman. Oh no. It wasn't the result of the Batman vs Superman fight. No, that got patched up in seconds. Instead, it was the result of Lex Luthor being a prick and Superman being like, yeah, I'm gonna save the world and sacrifice myself because I'm Superman. And yes, that's honorable, I'm okay with that. You go, Superman. But it is freaking... Could they have rushed it even more? That's my main problem with this entire film. It is so rushed. Like I said, Marvel has been making movies for years, decades, setting up characters and storylines so that we could get attached to those characters and get really involved and engrossed in the world and the story. Which is why when they finally announced the Avengers movie, everyone was so excited. It was like, oh, finally, we've been waiting all this time and it's so awesome. But we don't have much of a build-up here. As soon as Man of Steel came out, we were like, well, they're gonna make a Justice League movie. And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of making a Justice League movie, but the way they are approaching it is just so wrong. Okay, so let's break down the nitty-gritty details of Batman vs Superman. My first complaint happened in the opening scene. You know, that epic slow motion telling of Bruce Wayne's parents being shot. Did anyone else notice that the shooter's gun was pointed directly at Martha Wayne's face? But then she falls to the ground and she's just got a little bit of blood splatter on her. She looks perfect. Like, really, Zack Snyder? You just had to have that cool shot of a gun shooting through a pearl necklace, didn't you? You just couldn't resist. You really had to succumb to your own stupid weakness for a cool slow motion shot. Oh wait, that's what Zack Snyder always does, isn't it? Some other beef I have with this movie is the fact that nobody ever calls Batman Batman. He's the Gotham Bat, or the Bat of Gotham. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Stop trying to be some overzealous righteous prick. He's Batman. He's not Thor, son of Odin, god of Asgard. He's fucking Batman. And speaking of Batman, here's something that really, really pissed me off. He kills people when he's flying around in his little Batmobile, which was awesome. I can't deny that it looked really awesome. He was shooting people. And I don't mean like little pew 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 shooting. I mean like people were blowing up. People exploded into little tiny smithereens. Batman, stop it. Bad Batman. I was on your side. Batman is not supposed to kill people. That's his thing. And it's totally inconsistent because the entire first half of the movie, he's like, Superman's killing people, I'm gonna show him. And then he's like, well, I'm just gonna kill people so I can kill Superman because that makes logical sense. Another thing that pissed me off are all the dream sequences. Like, how many dream sequences do you need in one movie? And you're telling me that Bruce Wayne has been fighting crime for like decades and he's still having nightmares about bats? Also, side note, why is everyone questioning Batman's morality? Like when that cop sees him and starts shooting at him and he's like, oh, I've never seen Batman before. Batman has been around for decades. Where the fuck have you been? Why would you start shooting at Batman? By this point, everyone knows who he is and everyone knows what side he's on. It's not really a mystery anymore. Anyways, back to dream sequences. Sorry, I just have a lot of feelings. It's hard to organize my thoughts. This is more of a rant than a review, isn't it? Whatever, I'm not stopping at this point. I'm on a roll, let's go. Dream sequences. They're mostly cryptic and contained way too much slow motion. And then the whole Flashpoint things come in and because you know that fits in with all the other crap that's going on. Totally unnecessary. I also need to add to my list of characters that I mentioned before because now we're in the spoiler zone and I have even more people to add to this stupidly long list. But no, Bruce Wayne has to find these files of even more metahumans because, oh, Justice League is approaching. So not only is Wonder Woman in the mix, but we also get our first look at Aquaman and the Flash and Cyborg, and none of them needed to be included in this movie. None. Like, really, Zack Snyder? You didn't think this movie was crowded enough? And by the end of the film, we also got an inclination from the crazy bald Lex Luthor that we're getting a new big bad coming our way. Most likely Darkseid or possibly Brainiac. But we really didn't even need to know that either. And it was so cryptic that it was like, what's the point? He's coming. He's coming. Yeah, obviously, there's gonna be a new villain in the next movie. Otherwise, it will be pointless. Why do you need to tell us that? Crazy bald Lex Luthor. Let me just get this one thing off my chest. I feel like this is the most important thing to discuss in regards to this movie, and it's really the one huge reason that this movie is terrible. Just hear me out. The name of the film is Batman vs. Superman. I get why Batman wanted to take down Superman. It made logical sense. It dragged on a little bit and there was a lot of extra information that wasn't really necessary, but for the most part, it was logical. But when Lex Luthor says, hey, in order to save your mom, you need to kill Batman, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? This isn't even about their clashing ideologies anymore? It's just because Lex Luthor is a prick? Really? 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 You know, I think the whole moral of this story is that Lex Luthor is a prick. He is the reason that this movie is so terrible. Oh my god, I'm so distraught. Anyways, after that catastrophe, I was like, okay, at least I get to see this badass fight finally. I mean, let's not kid around here. That's the reason I'm here. That's the reason most of these people are here. We just want to see Batman and Superman kick each other's ass and just explosions and awesome stuff. I mean, you can't advertise a movie about Batman and Superman fighting to the death and then not have them fight to the death, right? Ha! Wrong. They fight for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. And it's pretty cool until Bruce Wayne is like, what? Your mom's name is Martha too? Did we just become best friends? What? And then Lois Lane is just laying there being completely pointless. It's his mother's name, Bruce. Go home, Lois, nobody cares. And then the actual fight ensues, which is awesome. I can't deny that it's awesome. And I have to say that it's really the only part of the movie that I actually enjoyed because the action was just badass. And Wonder Woman was literally the coolest. I just have the biggest crush on her. But then when Superman sacrifices himself to kill Doomsday, I was actually mad at myself because I really wanted to feel something, you know? That's a scene where you're supposed to feel something. You're supposed to get teary-eyed and try to conceal your feelings because you're in a movie theater full of people and you want to stay cool, but you're actually dead inside. And so you casually wipe the tears away by like, awkwardly shrugging. Yep, yeah man, I'm cool. I'm cool. I just got something in my eye. Something in my eye. You know, we've all been there. But no, I did not feel that. I felt nothing. I felt no attachment to Superman, and I hated myself. But it's not my fault. It's Zack Snyder's fault for making a shitty movie with terrible character development and giving me no attachment to anyone. Except maybe Alfred. If Alfred died, I would be sad. Anyways, I feel like I've been going on this rant for way too long, and I should probably call it quits before I punch something. I really do think this movie had some redeeming qualities, and the final battle was really well done. The visuals were super cool, Wonder Woman was so awesome, Ben Affleck was great as Batman, but aside from the cool visuals and some snappy dialogue from Alfred, I really just didn't enjoy this movie. I'd give it like a C-, maybe a D+. I've seen worse movies. I mean, it was better than Man of Steel, so... But Batman vs Superman is just all over the place. I could have told that story in 3 separate movies and made them way more interesting. But if you saw Batman vs Superman, let me know what you thought in the comments. If you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your take because I really do want to like this movie. I love the relationship between Batman and Superman. I love when they fight. I love when they're bros. I loved The Dark Knight Returns. I love Lex Luthor. I even love Lois Lane in the comics when she's badass. It's just the representation of all of these characters and all of their relationships in this movie is so wrong. So let me know what you guys think and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check out aggressivecomics.com for the latest and greatest in geeky news, and support us on Patreon if you would like to see more awesome geeky content. And I apologize if any of you really did love this movie because like,
that's fine. I get that, but you're wrong and I hate you.
Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with more geek next week. Hello. I'm in the middle of filming.